Hello and welcome to Caveman TV. In tonight's video, I'm going to be doing Scotland 6 with a spread of Rampant Green. I actually wasn't planning to record this video, but I did my first draft here, which I'll show you in a second, and what I pulled made me want to show this video. And I know this is Scotland 6, but it's just, again, kind of towards newer players can really show how playing to your advantage, playing from the back forward, can really help just kind of shut down some adversaries. And so let's get into it. And the card that made me want to show this, which, I mean, I might have done this without the card had I drafted it, but I did my first draft here. I G3'd, of course. That's how I opened green. And so I got Call to the Dahan Ways. I really like this card on green. Moon, water animal, replace one explorer with one Dahan. 2 moon, you can instead replace a town. Great card. Elemental boon, another, really good card, especially in multiplayer. Target spirit gains 3 different elements of their choice. If you target another spirit, you also gain those elements. So you're hitting, 2 spirits hit potentially a threshold they need. Or especially like a major threshold, something like that. Constancy, just really a good card. 0 cost, has the sun, has earth on it. Target spirit gains 2 energy. During time passes, target spirit may reclaim 1 power card instead of discarding it. If you target another spirit, you may also reclaim 1 power card instead of discarding it. I mean, this is just a really good card in general. I mean, it's a really great card, and also, especially in, single player with green, if I pick this up, it's got the sun, gives me the energy. But as much as this is probably the right pick, I'm going to go with Drift Down into Slumber. Defend 1. If the target land is jungle or sands, instead defend 4. And then it's got wind, which in case I need to sacrifice it. It's got earth, it's got plant. Again, Constancy is probably the right choice for this draft, the best choice for this draft, because it's going to unlock majors and stuff for me, really. I'm going to go with Drift Down. And we'll just do a classic. Oh, actually, nope, that's not what I want to do. I was thinking just slightly differently than I normally do. I'm going to do this. Okay? And then I'll do this. Okay? We're going to stop that. Wow, and this is just so perfect. Okay. And I didn't know this was going to happen, so this is really Okay, move this back here. Okay, and now we just do our classic build here. I want to put this probably up here since it's Scotland. Throw this here. And then, so normally if this was multiplayer, I probably wouldn't do this. I would probably play Gift of Proliferation out this turn, but it's single player, and I'm not going to proliferate myself, but I'm also not going to play it this turn. Just to kind of show you, and again, you're probably saying, well, you always say play as though you're playing multiplayer, and that's true, but I also think that, again, if I was playing a level 6 and I really wanted, like a doubles level 6, then, and I really wanted to do what I'm about to do, I would say, hey, you need to wait a turn for your prolif. You're still going to get prolif. Again, if your teammate was playing with anyone other than a spread of Rampant Green, they wouldn't be getting this prolif. So they should be capable of handling their board if you push it back a turn, right? But I'm not going to self-prolif. So, yes, I know I have nowhere to target. Send the flow of fresh water, and that's fine. Okay, I'm going to put... let's do... this here. Okay. Put that back there. Oh. Moderately annoying. What I want to do, I think instead, I forgot that I was doing this. I'm gonna undo where I put this. Okay. I'm actually going to put this here. Put this here. Okay. And then we'll play the same cards. And that's gonna let me do what I want to do. Okay. This here. You know what? I'm gonna do this one back there, that one up there, just because of the way Scotland works. So Scotland, and I probably should have gone into this a little bit before. So Scotland, first of all, we've got this additional loss condition. If there are more than 2 coastal lands with cities, if there are more than 2 coastal lands with cities, the invaders win. This number goes up depending on how many players you have, so it's dependent on player count. It's not always just 2. The escalation on the single board A with the fewest on the single board A with the most coastal buildings, add 1 to the land with the fewest towns. Add 1 town to the land with the fewest towns. And again, this is player dependent, right? So this number here, right, how many towns you're adding is actually equal to the number of players. So if I was adding, 3, if it was a 3-player game, I'd be adding 3 towns. 4-player game, 4 towns, etc. And it's one of those escalations where like someone has to take it, and they're usually the person that has to take it for the entirety of the game. A lot of times that is, in multiplayer games, that is me, especially if there's a tie, just because I'm green and I can skip it. Okay. Trading ports after setup in coastal lands. Explore cards add a town instead of an explorer. It's a maximum of 2 lands per board, so they explore the town with the coast with towns. We in coastal lands, build cards affect lands without invaders so long as there's an adjacent city. And again, there's some wonky deck mechanics, but you know where the coast is going to be, which is kind of cool. This is why I put the Scotland 5 is why I put the higher defend on the coast. After ravage actions, add blight to a coastal land. Add 1 blight to that board's ocean without cascading. Okay, it's considered a wetland for removal and movement. And then, of course, this is what I'm trying to prevent right here. Exports fuel inward growth. After the ravage step, add 1 town to each inland land that matches a ravage card that is within 1 of a building. And I'm kind of hoping to shut that off right now. So, well, that's fine. I'll just push this over here. Okay. Push 2 from a land with blight to a land without. Don't have to worry about that. And then they ravage in the jungle. Okay. And so as you can see, I didn't Scotland 6 because my inland land here, so Scotland 6, right? After the ravage step, add 1 town to each inland land that matches a ravage card and is within 1 of a building. So if there had been a building right here, right, or, here, whatever, then it would have added another building here. Okay. Now, because of what I did, and I prevented a city right there, and then just kind of turned it, I've kind of switched it off for this backboard. And now, okay, so now, and so here's my Scotland escalation. I have to add a town somewhere. I'm going to add it here, making my big problems bigger. So I've isolated my backboard, and I'm kind of now playing on these, these front lands here. And I can do this. And we should have a pretty easy Scotland game now, right? And it might slowly start creeping. This is gonna build And then, you know, even if I did kill it, it's going to add another town because it's inland within range here. But if I can just kind of keep these back areas a little more clear, I should have a much easier game. You know, it's not going to be adding all over the place in my backboard. I've kind of already made it so we're playing it to the front here. Let's see what we get. All right, so we got Call to Trade, and this is probably the card I'm going to take. I mean, this is just an amazing card. You may gather in a land with the Han. You may gather one to Han. If the terror level is 2 or lower, you gather a building, and the first ravage in target land this turn becomes a build there instead. And so really this is a ravage skip. I mean, I might not need it. I might go with something else, but this is just a very, very powerful card. You know, you can when they build, you can suck the building out of it. You know, you can, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, especially against adversaries where, you know, especially against not England, basically, where you're not so much worried about having a bunch of towns in one land, and then you can just hit that town with a nuke later on. Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. If your presence is present, 1 fear and 1 damage. If the target land is sands or wetland, 1 damage. Not a card I go with very often, but could be useful here, actually. I'd have to get presence into this land, but that's not hard. Renewing Rain. If target land is jungles or sands, remove 1 blight. If I have 3 plant, I can add a wilds. And then Scream Disease into the Wind. Target spirits get +1 with all their powers. Once this turn, after target spirit uses a power targeting a land, they may add 1 to that land. So this is tough. Again, I don't usually go with Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. You know, it's not, I kind of feel like doing it. I kind of feel like taking Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. Call to Trade is, again, one of those, like, it's probably the right answer, just because, you know, it's gonna, I could Call to Trade, you know, push to Han in, Call to Trade things out, but I don't think I need it. I'm gonna go with, let's be a little spicy. I want to take it and just play around with the card. Shouldn't need anything back there. Let's put this up here. And let's do something like this, right? And have some fun. Let's just have a little, let's be silly with it, I guess. Like, put this here. You know, get the plant out. You know, who knows? I doubt that's gonna do anything. Yeah, or during the next normal ravage, each building does each city does +2 damage, so we're not defending that anytime soon. Add 1 disease, ignore disease during builds this invader phase. Let's put that in there. That sounds good. 1 fear per land with invaders where Han outnumber buildings. Okay, so we got a fear. That's nice. Okay, well. Okay, they're gonna build in the sands. Interesting. So I can just do this. Okay. And then I can push those back there for a defense. This is gonna, of course, get a building added to it after the ravage because of the buildings here in this town. So we're gonna add there, but we're doing okay. This won't build anymore, which is nice. And So I mean, I could creepers this out. I think I'm gonna creeper these instead because I have a nice little, I have a nice counterattack set up, which could come to bite me in the butt if, you know, I get something that adds damage to it. But we'll see how we go here. Okay, we'll just take Gift of Power. That's fantastic. Okay. And we're gonna have Ravaging Sands. So, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have a problem here. Again, I'm not gonna Gift to Proliferate myself. If you have any earned fear cards, discard 2 of them now so you don't get their text benefits. I don't, otherwise lose 2 fear per player. That's a little sad. Add 1 beast to a land adjacent to beast, then destroy 1. Okay, so I'm gonna put my beast. I want to add a beast back up there to help just kind of manage that coastal mountain that I'm gonna have a little. Okay, so we're a little overkill with the defend, but that's, I'm not mad about it. Okay, and so you can see we've added a town in there. Not a big deal. Okay, and I'm just gonna actually, let me think, because I'm not going to. I'm thinking about my adjacencies, right? So this, if there's anything left here, it's going to add a town here. So I want to get rid of this if possible. If this builds, so I'm thinking I could let this sit for a minute because I have Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth, which I can use. So I think I'm actually going to, instead of doing what I was going to do and take out that sands, I think I'm going to do this. And I don't have, you know, there's an extra there. But I get another miner. So light calls to, we got Gift of Nature's Connection. Target spirit gains either 2 energy or 2 of a single element, their choice. If you target another spirit, you gain an element of your choice. Okay. Light calls to like, a card that I really like. If target land has an explorer, gather that explorer up to 1. Do likewise for towns, Dahan, Blight, and Beasts. So a very good card. Territorial Strife, off element. If target land has cities, 3 damage to explorers or towns, or you can add a Strife, which is not a bad card by any means. I could use it to kind of hammer this jungle a bit. And then Tormenting Rotflies, add a disease. If there's invaders, 2 fear, disease +1, blight +1, so it's an or there. I think I'm gonna go with Gift of Nature's Connection and try to get myself a really good major. Alright, well, we got Call to Ferocity. Gather up to 3, or if it's has Dahan, 1 fear, and push an explorer in town. Favor of the Sun and Starlit Dark. A favorite card of mine, obviously it's on element. Defend 4, push a blight. If you have 2 sun, you get a fear. Lure of the Unknown. Gather 1 explorer or town into a land without invaders. 0 cost, on element for us. And Memorize Tranquility, which can be very, very great for... this can just be a great card for Sweden or Scotland because of the Isolate. And then, of course, each invader does -1 damage. I'm thinking I could... So that's not going to build. I could Call to Ferocity, push it out, right? I could also Lure of the Unknown, which is what I'm leaning towards. And then I could just gather. So if I Lure of the Unknown, I'm thinking like I could take this, gather it back there, kill it with a beast or a creeper next turn, and then I mean, I guess it's not going to build, so I'm not super, actually, I don't really need to gather it out because I have the disease there. So I might just go with favor because it's on element and it gives me just more defense, which is what I like. Do something like this. Or I could throw Overgrow and just drop that in, ping that, destroy that, and then push into here for a good... Yeah, I want to do that instead. I'm not going to play Gift of Power. I don't specifically need it right now. I'm going to play this instead. I am just going to give myself some energy. Overgrow into here. For the rest of the turn, ignore 1 strife on each invader. Not a big deal to us. We're going to destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts. Also not really a big deal to us right now. And then if they ravage, and it has Dahan, defend 2. So we'll resolve. Okay. We're not going to allow that ravage because otherwise we would be in trouble. Ooh. I didn't think about that. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it. We know that we have the coast coming up here. Okay. So, I'm going to kill that again. I'm going to ping this with creepers. And I'm going to push these Dahan back here for a good defend. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna gain a major here. Huh. Well, some pretty good cards. Blazing Renewal and a single land within 2 of your presence. Target spirit adds 2 of their destroyed presence. If any was added, 2 damage to each building. And then, of course, we have, you know, if you hit this threshold, if any presence was added, 4 damage. This is really, really, really good. Like, if this was a multiplayer game, this is probably what I would take, just because it would let me just basically jump into other players' lands to set up skips. Irresistible Call, a fun major. Gather 5 towns, 5 Dahan, 5 beasts, and 15 explorers. And then if you hit the threshold, invaders skip all actions and target land, and it's isolated. Can really just clear out... You can set up a land to get destroyed. Mists of Oblivion. I mean, it does have Blobby on it, which is nice. 1 fear per building this power destroys. 1 damage each invader. If you hit the threshold, it's 3 damage. Probably the weakest card here, in my opinion. And then what I'm going to probably go for, a green classic. Destroy all explorers and all towns. Destroy all Dahan. But if you hit this threshold, which for green is basically like you auto threshold it, destroy 1 city and do not destroy any Dahan. So, I mean, a perfect major, especially for this game. I am going to ditch Gift of Proliferation. Now, this is one thing a lot of green players, green fanatics like myself would say, ditch Overgrow and a Knight. I tend to keep it myself. I like having the ability to throw myself into sands without having to rely on this G2. And, you know, once I've G2'd once, I tend to kind of just like to forget about it a little bit, unless it's an emergency where I need it. Again, I mean, I'm doing so good on energy that G2ing here is not a big deal, right? But usually, I'm kind of bouncing back, you know, reclaiming cards, gaining power cards and energy, and then maybe G2ing later in the game. So I tend to, instead of using G2, just keep Overgrow, which is probably not ideal. I tend to just ditch Gift of Proliferation late in game, or something else like, you know, if this was a true multiplayer, I might ditch Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth or another card like that. But I like to personally hang on to Overgrow in the night. Okay, and we'll just do 1, 2, 3. 4. Do I want to defend that way? Or do I want to hit this with an 8 just in case and do that? I feel like I like that better. All right, Years of Little Rain. This is the event that a lot of people skip Years of Little Rain. A terrible drought parches the land. I can either let the plants die and the land wither. For each board, discard the top miner. If it lacks water, add Blight to a sands. And then buildings and Dawn have -1 health, minimum 1 until the end of the turn. Or each spirit player, if you pay 4 energy per player aided by water, each spirit may add 1 presence to one of their lands with the Han. And I'm going to ease the drought. And I'm going to pay the 3 energy. And that's just going to let me do this. Okay. During the next normal build, skip the lowest numbered land matching the invader card. Okay. Oh, we're not going to build in my mountain, which is nice. We'll skip that build. Yeah, we'll allow that build, that's fine. Okay. Take Gift of Power. And Call to Migrate is... Call to Migrate, gather up to 3, push up to 3. Disorienting Landscape, push one Explorer. If it's Mountains Jungle, you also get to add a Wild, and it's on Element for our Creepers. Fire in the Sky is a really good card. 2 Fear, add a Strife. And then, of course, Gift of Living Energy. Target Spirit gains 1 energy. If you have at least 2 Sacred Sites, target spirit gains an energy. If you target another spirit, they gain 1 energy. I'm going to go with Disorienting Landscape. We'll take a Transient Apparitions here. Whoops. To add a Destroyed Presence. We'll add it there. 1. Jungle Hungers again. That. And let's pull Beneath the Hungry Earth to try to finish out the game real quick. The funny thing, the crazy thing is because I like just kind of shut these lands off so early in the game, I don't have a lot of fear. I mean, I'm close. Like, I need more fear is what I really need. But I think we might get a Terra level 1 victory here with Jungle Hungers. But as you can see, like, fear advances the game, right? I am pretty far in. If you look, I'm pretty far in, and I'm still Terra level 1. And, like, I should be looking for a good fear card, really. But we'll do okay here. We're still gonna win this game. Just push this guy over. So the annoying thing is actually I don't. Hold on, I just remembered something. not going to play the Jungle Hungers. I'm actually going to play this instead. I'm actually going to do this, I think. Because I can't Jungle Hungers that land. The one bad thing is that that land is not Jungle's Hungerable. Oh. I'm being silly. I need to not play you. Play you. Like that. Ta-da. Alright. Add one. We'll take it from here. There we go. Now we're playing smart. Alright. Add one wilds to a land without invaders. Build a land with the most buildings. Okay, well, we'll just prevent a back explorer there. And we're going to allow the build. Explore doesn't affect coastal lands. That's awesome. Allow that ravage. Skip that ravage. We're gonna build again, which is mildly annoying. But no explorer. We're gonna just use that to destroy that. And then we're going to okay. And at this point, because I'm so well off, I'm going to try to grab another major, just see if I can get something that helps. And so Bargains of Power gives all our Dahan defend, a really good card, but not what I really wanted. Flow like water, reach like air could actually work for us. So we get 2 range with all our powers. That's going to let us jungle hungers, right? So I think that's actually what we're going with. And let's finally ditch pole beneath the hungry earth. Drop this. Doesn't matter. Okay. Bring a little Dahan with us, just in case, you know, maybe we'll do a little extra damage. That's annoying. Yeah, alright, well. So we're getting some good defense here. We're not going to allow that build. We're not going to allow that build. We're not going to allow that build. Okay, so that was very annoying, but not terrible. We're just going to go 1, 1, 2. We're jungle hungers that. And we'll gain a minor. That's fine. And then we get sky stretches, which is funny. Alright, well. And we'll just reclaim our cards. We'll gain another minor here. It really doesn't matter at this point. And we've won the game. So, It's here. Okay, we're gonna Enticing Splendor. We're gonna gather a guy in just to make it that much sweeter of a victory. And there we go. So a nice little Terror 2 game. And as you can see, just that opening, and I could have set that up even if I hadn't drafted Drift Down into Slumber turn 1. I still could have set up a very similar thing with green. So, you know, I could have skipped the build here, pushed the 2 Dahan back here like I did, and then just defended up top and taken a Blight here, right? Because, I mean, we're healthy. We took no Blight. I could have taken a Blight back there and then essentially done the same thing. There would have been an extra Explorer kind of lingering around back there, but it wouldn't have affected anything, right? Because of the way I am. Now, if this was a 3-player game, you know, where there's, you know, more island over like this, obviously that wouldn't have been as effective because of this board here would have adjacencies and things like that. In a 2-player game where you're set, you know, where you're set up and they have, you know, their island board is kind of set up like this, then it still is effective, right? Because, I mean, yeah, this land might, you know, you're going to have maybe some coastal adjacencies here that can push back into these lands, but you're still kind of, you know, hopefully isolating. But in single player, I mean, it worked really well. It just made our Scotland game so easy, being able to, you know, with green at least, being able to skip and things like that. And here you go, Anna. So, yeah. All right. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.